I've always loved this country, and my opposition to the war was based on the notion that this was not what America was about. This was the wrong war. It was wasteful. It was foolish. It was, we were not living up to our ideals. I hated it when I saw Viet Cong flags. I always thought we were the ones who ought to be marching with American flags. I hated the disparaging talk about America. In fact, I was purged from SDS in my junior year because I was considered, a bourgeois liberal, not really a full-blown radical. And they were right. They were right. That's correct. My opposition to the war was mainly, I guess, moral. I thought the war was morally wrong. I don't think I ever went through a phase of hating America. No, I think I really loved the country all my life.
Did you feel queasy that many of the people you were running with did hate America?
Yeah, although there were a lot of people to run with, and those are the ones I stayed away from those. I mean, there were plenty of anti-war people who were like me, and so those were the people that I stayed with. I found myself utterly repelled by the other sort, and you'd see them, and they became more numerous around the time that I just split off from it all. And then looking at people like the people in the Progressive Labor Party, I mean, people who thought goddamn Mao Zedong was wonderful, and these were people who would refuse to recognize the evils in the Soviet Union. These were people who idolized Castro. I mean, they were idiots. They were morons. I mean, to say that things were wrong about Vietnam didn't mean that everything was right on the other side. I never was an idiot about that. And I believed and believe all my life that this is the best society in the world. So that I felt, in Vietnam we had let ourselves down. We had let down our own values as a country. And it was my desire as a patriot to try to bring my country back to what I thought its appropriate values are. It was a totally unnecessary, stupid war. I continue to believe that. And the histories that I've read since, and it's a subject that continues to be very important for me, have only confirmed and deepened my conviction that we were right. Now, you're right. I mean, the motivation of many of those people. And by the way, I mean, except for a handful, I mean, most were really posers and idiots and clowns. I mean, they weren't, serious in any way at all. I mean, this was a stage. They were passing
through. The type of people who are now Reform rabbis and... Yeah,
right, or have, or have tattoos or something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it was, right, for some people, hating America was a rite of passage. I don't know, maybe about hating their parents. I have no idea what it was about. I mean, I didn't hate my parents, I loved my parents, I loved my family. I was, pathetically I was not dysfunctional.
Let me just stop you and ask you a follow-up question. Did you ever go through a stage where it was really important to you to be loved by blacks and or Latinos?
To be loved by blacks and Latinos?
Yeah. Have their goodwill. Be affirmed by them.
To be affirmed by them.
Considered a brother.
Yeah, I think it was important for me. I think loved is going too far, and I think that would put me in a category of people that I myself find nauseating. But it was important for me that African American people who I liked and respected saw me as someone who was a friend and ally, which I was. So that was important to me.
Were you naive?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I mean, I think blacks have had a terrible raw deal in this country. And that's not to say that everything that's wrong with black life is a product of systemic racism. I mean, I believe Pat Moynihan got a whole lot of it right and said a lot of brave things a long time ago about dysfunctional families and disappearance of fathers and drug culture and all the rest. And there's a great deal that's pathological in the black community that only can be fixed when families are restored, and all the social engineering in the world isn't going to make that right. I remember reading a brilliant piece some years ago by Traub of the New York Times called "The Schools Are Not the Answer," talking about the complete failure of things like Title I and Head Start. Within a year or two, the kids fall right back to where they were. I mean, this problem is gigantic. I mean, and so far it's defied every solution that I can think of. But I have felt, I have felt deeply about the situation of African Americans in this country. I certainly, maybe you'll retch at the term. It's get ready. Yes, I have felt that I have skin privilege. I know I have skin privilege, and I think white people should acknowledge that. And when I remember sort of forgetting about it some years ago, and I was reminded of it. I remember when I was working at the National Conference of Christians and Jews, one of my best friends there was a woman, West Indian woman, an American citizen, Mondale Sealy, a person I liked a whole lot. I kind of had a secret crush on, to be perfectly honest. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, and I was going to be moving out of Manhattan, and I didn't know. I was thinking of moving into Brooklyn or Queens, and she mentioned, I ended up moving to Park Slope. In any case, she mentioned a couple real estate agents, and she said that these were really good, but she said, but she confessed that she had gone there and there was whenever she went, there was nothing available because she was black. And Mondale was a person who never played the race card, never traded on it, was a very classy woman. And it was just a reminder, it was a good reminder for me, because I'd kind of forgotten about that. But yeah, I mean, I don't have the same kind of feeling. I've never had the same feelings about Hispanics. I have to be honest with you. First of all, I don't think African American history is deeply tied to my own history. The history of Hispanics coming in from another country is not. I just don't have the same sense of I don't feel the same sense of moral obligation.
Okay, earlier you mentioned you felt nauseated by those Jews who are eager to be loved by blacks and Latinos.
Yeah, and by Muslims also.
And by Muslims. Would it be fair to say that virtually all of those Jews who yearn to be loved by blacks, Muslims, Latinos are not ritually observant traditional Jews? That's
probably right. I'm sure you're right about that.
Okay, my thesis is that those who are the most secure in who they are as Jews are the least desperate to be loved by blacks, Latinos, and Muslims.
No, I think you're right. I would only add to that that I'm secure in who I am as a Jew, although I don't practice the same kind of Judaism you do. Because my Jewish identity is very strong.
I didn't say anything about observance there in my follow-up.
But
all I said was security and
fair to say that Jews who feel no need to apologize for who they are, on the contrary, who feel a deep sense of pride and a deep sense of at-homeness in themselves and in this country, in their being, yes, I think they're the ones, they're infinitely healthier, and they're the ones who don't need to make fools of themselves and end up going much further than making fools of themselves, actually end up being complicit in doing things that are dangerous and stupid.
So Jews who go off the derrick, whatever that means, but who lose their sense of Jewishness, are not just in danger of looking foolish, they're like a danger to America, many of them.
Yes, I believe they are. Yeah, I believe they are. There's certainly a danger to America. Yes. These are people who don't believe in, well, first of all, they're people who believe that a word like, if you use the word, if I say to someone, I'm a patriot, or if I go to an event and I wear a flag pin, which I do, I know that that these kind of people think fascist. They can't separate the notion of patriot from fascist. If I talk about the need for border protection in the name of national security or protecting sovereignty, now again, this is not a problem with the great majority of people, but with the people that we've been describing, they look at me like I'm from another planet. I mean, Jews aren't concerned about American sovereignty, are they? We're not. We're too liberal. We're too hip for that kind of thing. Patriotism? God. I mean, are you crazy? I mean, these are the kind of Jews who want to be citizens of the world. They want to be